Sometimes we let every small thing disturb our peace. Someone says something rude and we react with anger. Something doesn't go our way and we react with frustration. Someone criticizes us and we react with defensiveness. But this constant reacting slowly destroys our inner calm. In today's world where people are rude online, traffic is stressful, news is disturbing, and life is unpredictable, it's easier than ever to spend every day emotionally reacting to things outside your control. But here's the truth: reaction is weakness. Response is power. The one who stops reacting finds unshakable peace, and the one who reacts to everything lives in constant chaos. This story will show you how to stop reacting and finally live in peace. Once upon a time in a mountain village lived a young man named Ravi. He was intelligent and hardworking, but he had one major problem: he reacted to everything. If someone cut him off in traffic, Ravi would honk and yell, his mood ruined for hours. If a colleague made a sarcastic comment, Ravi would snap back, creating tension at work. If his food order was wrong, Ravi would argue with the server, spoiling his meal. If it rained on his plans, Ravi would complain bitterly about his bad luck. Every external event controlled Ravi's internal state. His peace was constantly at the mercy of circumstances and other people's behavior. Because of this, Ravi was always stressed, always upset, always reacting. His relationships suffered because people felt they had to walk on eggshells around him. His health suffered because his body was constantly flooded with stress hormones. His happiness suffered because he could never find peace. Something always triggered him. One day, after another explosive reaction to a minor inconvenience, Ravi broke down. "Why am I like this?" he asked himself. "Why can't I just be calm? Why does everything bother me so much?" His neighbor, an elderly monk named Tenzin who lived in a small monastery nearby, had observed Ravi's struggles. He approached the young man gently. "Ravi," Tenzin said, "you are like a lake in a storm, constantly disturbed by every wind that blows. Would you like to learn how to become a still lake, where storms may come but the depths remain peaceful?" Ravi looked at the monk desperately. "Please, teach me. I'm so tired of reacting to everything. I'm tired of being angry, frustrated, and upset all the time. I want peace, but I don't know how to find it." Tenzin smiled softly. "Come with me to the lake. Let me show you something." Ravi followed Tenzin to a beautiful lake nestled between mountains. The monk sat by the shore and gestured for Ravi to sit beside him. "Look at the surface of the lake," Tenzin said. Ravi looked. The surface was perfectly still, reflecting the mountains and sky like a mirror. "Now watch," Tenzin said. He picked up a small stone and threw it into the lake. The stone created ripples that spread across the surface, disturbing the perfect reflection. The water became choppy and unclear. "This," Tenzin said, "is what happens when you react. External events like this stone disturb your inner peace. The ripples are your anger, frustration, defensiveness. Your clarity is gone." Ravi nodded. "Yes, that's exactly how I feel. But how do I stop the stones from being thrown? How do I stop bad things from happening?" Tenzin smiled. "You don't. Stones will always be thrown. People will always be rude. Traffic will always be frustrating. Life will always be unpredictable. You cannot control the stones. But watch what happens next." They sat in silence watching the lake. Slowly, the ripples subsided. The water became calm again. The perfect reflection returned. The lake did not fight the ripples, Tenzin explained. It did not try to stop them. It did not react to being disturbed. It simply remained still at its depths, and naturally, the surface returned to peace. "This is the secret, Ravi. You must become like the lake." "But how?" Ravi asked, frustrated. "When someone insults me, the anger just comes. I can't control it." "You're right," Tenzin said. "You cannot always control the first feeling that arises, that's the stone hitting the water. But you can control whether you create more ripples. Let me show you the difference between reaction and response." Tenzin picked up another stone. "When this stone hits the water, ripples will form. Watch carefully." He threw the stone. Again, ripples spread across the surface. If the lake were to react, Tenzin said, it would create more ripples, waves fighting waves. Chaos creating more chaos. This is like when you react to anger with more anger, to rudeness with more rudeness. You are not calming the water, you are making it more disturbed. He paused, watching the ripples fade. But the lake does not react. It accepts the stone without resistance. The ripples come, but the lake remains still at its depths. The disturbance is temporary because the lake does not feed it with more energy. This is response acknowledging what happened without adding to the chaos. Ravi began to understand. So, when someone insults me, instead of insulting them back, you acknowledge the feeling without feeding it. Tenzin finished. You notice, anger has arisen. That's the stone hitting the water. But then you remain still at your depths. You don't throw more stones into your own lake. You don't react. But won't people think I'm weak if I don't react? Ravi asked. Tenzin gestured to the lake. Is this lake weak because it doesn't fight the stones? Or is it powerful because nothing can permanently disturb its peace? The lake will be calm long after the stone has sunk to the bottom. The person who threw the stone may walk away thinking they affected the lake, but the lake returns to peace. Who is really in control, the stone thrower or the lake? Ravi sat in silence, absorbing this wisdom. Here is what you must practice, Tenzin said. When something disturbs you, an insult, a frustration, an inconvenience, pause. Breathe. Say to yourself, this is a stone. I feel the ripples, but I am the lake and the lake remains still at its depths. Don't react immediately. Let the feeling arise, acknowledge it, but don't feed it with more reactions. What if the anger is too strong? Ravi asked. Then let it be strong, Tenzin said calmly. Even if the ripples are large, they will still fade if you don't create more. You may feel intense anger, that's okay. Feel it fully, but don't act on it. Don't throw more stones. The ripples will pass. They always do. But your reactive actions, harsh words, angry gestures, those create consequences that last long after the ripples have faded. Tenzin stood, preparing to leave. Remember, Ravi, you are not the ripples. You are the lake. The depths are always still, even when the surface is disturbed. Ravi returned home with Tenzin's teaching echoing in his mind. I am the lake. The depths are always still. The very next day, he was tested. A driver cut him off in traffic. Ravi felt the familiar surge of anger, the stone hitting the water, the ripples forming. But this time, instead of honking and cursing, he paused. He took a breath. This is a stone, he said to himself. I feel the ripples of anger, but I am the lake. He let the anger be there without acting on it. He continued driving calmly. Within minutes, the anger faded. The ripples subsided. Peace returned. Ravi was amazed. The situation was the same. Someone had been rude, but his experience was completely different because he hadn't reacted. Over the following weeks, Ravi practiced this constantly. A colleague made a sarcastic remark, stone thrown. Ravi felt irritation, ripples formed, but he remained still at his depths. He responded with silence or calm words instead of reacting with defensiveness. The ripples faded. His food order was wrong, stone. Frustration rose, ripples, but he calmly pointed out the mistake without anger response. The ripples faded. It rained on his outdoor planned, stone. Disappointment came, ripples, but he adapted peacefully instead of complaining, response. The ripples faded. Ravi discovered something profound. Peace was not the absence of disturbing events. Peace was his ability to remain still at his depths while the surface was disturbed. 6 months later, people noticed the change. Ravi is so calm now, they said. Nothing seems to bother him. But things did bother Ravi. Stones were still thrown. Ripples still formed. The difference was, Ravi had become the lake. He no longer reacted to every disturbance. He responded from his still depths. And in that stillness, he found the peace he'd been searching for all along. Here's how to stop reacting and find peace, starting today. First, when something disturbs you, pause and breathe before responding. This creates space between the trigger and your action. Second, acknowledge the feeling without acting on it. Say to yourself, this is anger rising. This is frustration. I feel it, but I don't have to act on it. Third, remind yourself, I am the lake. The depths are always still. Let the ripples come, but don't create more by reacting. Remember, you cannot control the stones that are thrown, but you can remain still at your depths. If this helped you, Like and comment one situation you'll practice non-reaction with today. Till then, stay peaceful, stay still, and stop reacting to everything around you.